Think, Act, Repeat. Welcome to the Left Wing Kings podcast. We are coming at you live. It is October 14th. And today we're going to be getting into why we get into other countries' business. We're going to talk about the potential Democratic presidential candidates. And we're going to talk about the U.S. law enforcement shortage. I want to thank all of our listeners out there on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and Google Podcasts. Also want to thank everybody for joining us on our live stream on Facebook and YouTube. Now, please feel free to post a comment. If you do, we will bring it up during the conversation. If I can, I'm having some audio issues right now. But if I can't, y'all just share, talk amongst one another. I am your head moderator in charge of HMIC Malik, and I'm joined today by my queen, Walanda.
What up?
And my main man, Ace.
What's good? What's good?
Okay, let's get it cracking now. The United States, the good old United States of America, has a long history of intervening in other countries' affairs and conflicts. And there are many reasons why we get involved with these other countries. Sometimes we intervene because of our own interests, and then sometimes we're doing things for democracy or human rights. So, Ace, should we care about what's going on in these other countries? And what are the pros and the cons of U.S. intervention, especially with what's going on right now in Israel and in Ukraine?
Yeah, I mean, we got to care, man. It's a world stage out there. And I think that history shows us what happens when we don't care. That was World War II and World War I, and it got bad. When you let other people kind of do what they want to, especially if they have the power, then just human nature, they take over. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people get killed and a lot of people die. Now, in our current state, especially with nuclear weapons involved and especially being a global economy, it's probably more important that we get involved. America's been known as the police state. It's just what we've been. We've been a superpower, and we've kind of had to get involved with things, for decades. Now, should we get involved with everything? Nah, we probably shouldn't have got involved with the first Iraq war. That was done just for economical reasons. With we can go into the bushes and start talking about that history. But what we got going on now, and I guess the elephant in the room today is going to be the Israeli-Palestine conflict that's been going on for centuries. I guess the best question is, why do we have to get involved with that? Why is that important to us? Well, in a nutshell, just for who we are, if because of how and I don't have time to break down all the political attributes, or maybe a little bit, but all the affiliations. But a lot of us got military age children, especially sons, that if something pops off, they could be thrown in that conflict. Some of us have sons in the military or relatives in the military.
Yeah,
it can change their life dramatically if they have to go over there. Now, we know that America sides with Israel. We know that Iran allegedly funds Hamas, which is the terrorist group that runs out of the Gaza Strip. And I want people to understand that Hamas isn't Palestine. And I think a lot of people get them confused. Hamas is a terrorist group. Palestine is the state they live in. Now think about it like the Taliban in Afghanistan. Like they run things there. They have a big influence, but they're not the country, Right. And unfortunately, the people that live there are just they're terrorized by them too. It's like the mafia in the 30s. They run your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't own the neighborhood, but they run it and they live there with you and they terrorize you. So that's where they're at. So plain and simple, we back Israel, Iran backs Hamas. We get into kind of some skirmishes or some Americans over there now that are trying to get out, but some Americans die, especially we put boots on the ground. Russia's in bed with Iran. This thing gets ugly. If you do your history, go look at World War I, how that started. That started over just minor border skirmishes, all the time. Hey, join the military, especially if they ain't doing nothing. Join the military and do this. But to understand that you may tell him this, and in 2 years, he's boots on the ground in the Gaza Strip. And I don't know if you looked at the pictures of the Gaza Strip right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't want think you want your son going house to house over there. So quick rundown. It's an elaborate history. I recommend you to take a look at. Take a look, to do your research on this one. Take a look and understand where
Mhm.
that conflict comes from. We'll touch on it a little bit, but it's a mess, and it can escalate real quick, and that's just part of it. Question was, should we get involved? Yeah, we should.
Mhm.
Ukraine, yeah, we should be involved somewhat as a country. Now, do I want my sons fighting over there? No, I'm not talking about that. But if we
Right.
don't get involved and prevent that, that can happen.
Mhm.
So
See what
what
I'm
does
saying?
involvement mean then?
I think political sanctions, paying attention,
Right.
being aware
Mhm.
and doing things. Sometimes you have to fund people, like we have to fund Ukraine to make sure that Russia don't
Yeah.
take them over, then step over into Poland. That escalates into violates a NATO treaty, and the next thing you know, we're a full-fledged world war.
Mhm.
Now we've been in the generations and have to go through that, but I guarantee if my grandparents are still alive, I don't think that was a good time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't think they. That's why they
Nah.
call them the greatest generation. Like
Right.
it was body bags coming back, and I'm not talking about the Afghan body bags that you see on
Mhm.
the world news. You see 2 or 3. It was people coming back regularly. My uncle and them were the Vietnam era people.
Yeah.
That was bad. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We haven't had war escalated like that in this country. We've been blessed
Mhm.
for a long time not to have that, but it looks like we might be going that direction.
Right.
So yeah, we have to be involved and expect our political leaders to be somewhat involved and not have an isolationist theory that some people are trying to have right now. Like, no,
Mhm.
that's not worry about. We got problems here. Yeah, we got problems here.
Mhm.
But if Russia takes over Ukraine, you know what I'm
Yeah, they're
saying?
going to.
And like I said, we can
How much
dig
of a
into
problem would that
China.
really be for us? I mean, I know I know there's things that will happen, but to be truthful with you, like, okay, so now Belarus could go into Poland right now if they wanted to. They right there. They don't need Russia to be in Ukraine. I mean, what what are the true? We talk about, well, we got to do it because we got to stop Russia. We got to stop communism, whatever you want to call it, right? But nobody has never said like, okay, so what if we don't? Like, what happens if we don't?
Well, what history tells us, and coming out of Putin wants to reunite the Soviet Union.
Hmm.
That's his main move. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And all the countries that they own, Poland was one of them. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So if you go by history, same thing was with Hitler. They let Hitler invade a place, they didn't do nothing about it. Then he invaded another place, they didn't do nothing about it. Next thing you know, he's invading France, he's invading
Mhm.
Britain. I think that I don't know. Maybe he takes Ukraine, doesn't do anything. We don't know. But if you go on
Right.
history, if you go on his acts,
Mhm.
he's not going to stop there. Why would he? You know what I'm saying? He hasn't stopped now. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's almost the fact that if we if we don't stop him, we don't show him any aggression, then what makes him not go anywhere else. So I mean, I can't say that he wouldn't, but what if? And I
Yeah.
think the what if
Yeah.
is too much to risk.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I don't know if the what if is too much to risk because I still don't know what the what if is. Like, if the what if is like, okay, let's talk about World War II, like you said, they weren't doing nothing, just kicking back. Then all of a sudden, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. That's why we really jumped all in, right? Because we got attacked. Now, if we're saying that, well, hey, if we let Russia do this, Russia's gonna attack the United States, or la la la, then I might see
Well, that's
some
the what
reason to
if.
get involved. I mean, that might not be. It might just be, hey, we got some things that now Russia got some other countries under their belt. And they don't do nothing else. I mean, they may not attack us. I think we talk about defending democracy and all this stuff when, to me, there's a whole lot of other places out there that have the same struggle that Ukraine has right now with a dictator or someone else coming into their country, or a warlord or somebody taking over. We don't care about their democracy. We just letting them, like, we just letting things happen over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're picking and choosing, but the same what ifs exist over there, just like they do over here.
Right. Well, I think because, and when you look at foreign affairs, I think that us as U.S. citizens, I don't think some of us understand that, or we're just ignorant to it. Even myself, I was like, so why are foreign affairs so important to us? So to me, I found like 7 things that stood out, like why you need to definitely be involved. First, like you said, Adrian, national security, right? So we're talking
Mhm.
about terrorism. You're wondering like why people hate us so much. Well, you might want to look at here, right?
Yeah.
Our national security problem. Then we also have economic interests, right? So we have our trade, we have economic growth, foreign relations, open up markets, right? That promote investment and ensure access to essential resources. So you
Mhm.
got your resources. Then third, diplomacy and peace, right? We always talk about world peace and let's keep everybody happy. You know, wars over there typically trickle in, right? So we have a war somewhere else that's not in our location, but eventually sometimes it leads to being here in your homeland. Then all of a sudden you have an interest. So of course, peace is important.
Yeah.
Our cultural exchange, right? So we all know that diversity is important. We have different nationalities, ethnicities here. So cultural exchange is important in your foreign affairs. Like nobody's going to come over here looking different, right? If we're not accepted. So on that global challenges such as climate change. People think climate change is a U.S. problem. It's not a U.S. problem. If our sun blows up, guys, we all die. Okay, don't matter if you're Iran from Iran or you're Russian or German. We're all going. Okay, so those kind of problems we definitely got to look into. So your pandemic that we just had, COVID, it didn't just affect United States; it also affected other countries. And just those things global in nature. Also, our geopolitical influence. So your strong alliances and partnerships; those are important because when somebody tries to attack us, we want somebody to back us as well. And the last one, and the most important one to me, because I think I am a humanitarian, is just the humanitarian and moral consideration that we have. We have people dying over there. And no, they're not our people, but people are getting blown up in a situation that they are not involved in. They don't want, they're just trying to live like me and you. You know what I mean? So we got to look at those. So those are the 7 things to me that are important on why U.S. we have to be important on our foreign affairs
Yeah,
Good
and
list.
involvement.
let's hit home a little bit on it too,
Mhm.
because there's a myth in this country. I don't know why we do this. Gas prices affected by the president. You get mad at the president.
No.
Every president's affecting it. Like the like the president's going there. You know what, man? Raise his gas price to $4, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Gonna
I
help
don't like these
everybody.
people. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
It don't work like that.
that's affected by the global economy. You're
Economic
talking
interests.
about
Mhm.
Israel and Palestine. That's right in the middle of the Middle East where we get a lot of our oil from, and Russia has a lot of oil. So what countries usually do in this situation? They affect oil prices one way or the
Mhm.
other, embargo, blockade, raising the price of the barrel, whatever. Then that affects your pocketbook. So people go to
Right.
war, they can't get stuff out like they want to. The price of the oil goes up. Exxon, those are the people that actually control the gas prices. The actual
You
people
mad
who
at them.
sell gas
Mhm.
raise your gas prices, and you complaining, and you then go out and say, hey, this president can't control the gas prices. Well, I
Right.
mean, that's because of the political nature of the
Mhm.
geoeconomics, in the world. So it affects us,
Mhm.
in one way or the other. Now, Sean's got a valid point. We got things going on in Africa that America policy-wise ignores. Somalia. We can start naming a lot of places that happen that people are doing terrible things because and what Walanda said, there's a humanitarian need over there.
Right.
Mhm.
May not be economic,
Nope.
That's
It's
you
not.
humanitarian.
know, and that's a bad call of the government, and
Yeah.
I don't disagree with them at all. But we're talking about why should we get involved? What's going to affect us? We know for a fact what's going on in Ukraine and even what's going on in Israel is going to affect us. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Mhm.
what it is. Now, in my heart and in my heart of hearts, yeah, some of the bad things that are going on, or some of the bad things that went on or are going on in other parts of the world, and not only Africa. You can go to South America, you can
Yeah.
go all around the world,
Yep.
uh, even in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
We do
But
pick and choose who we get involved with, and that's not right
yeah,
either.
it's
No.
not. And I understand we can't be everywhere at once, right? And there needs to we need to prioritize your needs and your resources, right? So we can't be everywhere, but we can't always ignore
Yeah.
the same place or the same places. You know what I mean? Because if we say that we are the champions of democracy, if we say that we're humanitarian, right, then we need to act that way. And maybe after you prioritize, and maybe when you do prioritize the right way, you'll find that maybe you should be in Somalia, right,
Mhm.
versus Ukraine, or maybe you should be in, I don't know, someplace in Asia. Think of speaking of Asia. 2 things I did want to bring up was like I think there's a lot of good reasons for us, like you said, a lot of great reasons. You brought up those 7 reasons. I mean, they're hard to argue. A lot of great reasons to go and help out other countries. But we've done that and we've kicked ourselves in the ass a few times too.
yeah.
You brought up Iraq.
Yeah.
We went over there, Afghanistan. I mean, wasn't it Saudis that did 9/11?
Yeah, pretty much.
And we over here doing all this stuff. And guess how we are with Saudi? We giving them dap. We hugging them and loving them.
What
Because
do
what?
you think the Bushes are?
Because resources. Because they have things that we need. So we just let these fools do that. We said,
Yeah.
we're going to attack Iraq.
Yeah.
Because they got weapons of mass destruction, which they didn't have. Let
They
me
had
go
a
further
pipeline.
back.
That's what they had.
Yeah, they had a pipeline.
We took that. You know what I'm saying?
Then you go back further. Vietnam.
Yeah.
We got to stop communism. We got to
Mhm.
go over here and make sure the Russians don't take over the Southeast Asia.
The domino theory.
Yeah. And same thing. And that makes me think about Ukraine. Because we did kind of like the same thing. They were like, well, the Soviets were going to support Vietnam or Viet Cong or whatever. And they was going to go over there. And then we said, oh, we can't have that. We got to go over there and do something. Fighting for years, just death.
Mhm.
Death and nothing else. We lost that war, what many people say. So, I mean, we also have to really think strategically about what we're going to do and when we're going to do it. We can't, like, this thing happened with Israel and we just jumped. We didn't even take the time to strategize, nothing. We just like, we're going to send the ship over. We're going to send money. We're going to do this. Are we jumping too deep in? Should we take a step back and determine like what's the right steps? I don't know.
I mean, and the Republicans do have a point when they come to the fiscal part of financing the war, not knocking it. Yeah. I'm not saying we don't support it, but we might have to look at what we're doing. Definitely in that, fiscally, I don't think we stop supporting them, but yeah, there has to be some controls put on it. Definitely. It's a hard one, man, because if you just look at history and in a lot of those wars, even with the Vietnam situation, Desert Storm, you just want to name a lot of these wars that we had and we fought weren't for like, national security. It was like you said, it was like democracy or whatever, and we were fighting and a lot of people died in them because we got too deep into it and just started getting a big casualty count. Afghanistan was a big mess that we did, after 9/11. We kind of reacted on 9/11. We just got bombed and we got pissed off and we just started going out and trying to find out who we're attacking. But to be honest with you, we got attacked by a terrorist group. We didn't get attacked by a country. We just went for the countries that were harboring those terrorists and went over them. That's kind of the Hamas situation right now. Even though we know they hang out, they from the Gaza Strip, and that's what they're all about. The Palestinians are going to pay for it now. Why? Because this terrorist group can mingle in with the population. And how do you get at them? Now they're going to start going door to door with them. And they're basically telling them, get out the way, because we're going to assume whoever's still there is Hamas. You know what I'm saying? Basically. So, I mean, it's a mess. And unfortunately, modern wars like that, countries not getting attacked by other countries now, not that much other than, Russia taking over. But a lot of these wars are getting started because there's a faction or a terrorist group that does something horrific. And now you have to go into the country where they're harbored out of and try to find them. And that becomes a big mess.
Right. And I think the United States looks at humanitarianism. I think it's on the lowest end, so they look at national security first and probably your economic interests and the money. And then your humanitarianism is like, yeah, we'll deal with that when we can get to it. But if it's not impacting us as far as financially, I don't think we have an interest. Or once again, when it comes to terrorism, I think that's the number one hotspot. When they see some type of terroristic group, they really want to annihilate that just because they know how worldwide, what kind of problems they can cause.
Yeah.
That's what I think is the concern. But I don't know how deep you're supposed to go in there, and how long you stay to eradicate that. But if you don't eradicate it, what is your end result?
What's the purpose of terrorism? Is to get you caught up into something that you're involved with, to the point where the population gets frustrated with you politically to make change. Nobody's trying to line up tank for tank with the United States. They're not trying to do that. And they don't want to see they don't want to go. They're not like Japan and Germany back in the day. They don't want to go aircraft carrier to aircraft carrier. You know what I'm saying? They know they can't
Right.
win that fight. So now it's about, doing things to get us involved in a war and to get us kind of crippled down with it to politically we get beat up at home. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say when you start looking at how our elections are handled now,
Right.
some of the misinformation's coming on. That's the new war now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how they attack us now.
Mhm.
They're not gonna bomb Pearl Harbor or do anything like that. It's gonna be maybe 9/11 or even when they bombed the USS Cole. They're gonna
Right.
just have certain targets they're gonna hit that's gonna get us involved to where we have to now react.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like they did Israel right now. We're gonna go in and we're gonna attack, their version of Lollapalooza and take hostages.
Yeah.
Right.
Because now it's gonna make them have to react. They're gonna react conventionally, right? So
Right.
they're gonna now start bombing buildings and military targets or whatever. And now they're killing civilians. So now you got Israel doing things. Hamas did something horrific. Now Israel's doing something horrific. You know what I'm saying? And now it's being judged. From the world. And you got certain people saying certain things, and then even America, we got some polarization here. So it's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And that
And-
impacts your cultural exchange.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
big time. Because we have people who live here who are Israelites. You have Palestinians.
Yeah.
You have Jewish people. And I think sometimes when people see what's on the news and they form their own biases, you know what I mean? Like, well, then you're this, and so now we're against, and that's the only thing I'm really worried about.
Oh yeah, that's
which is a big concern.
That's like I said, part of the attack on us. I mean, you have people that sent their sons to Israel that serve in in IDF in the army.
Right.
You got people that were there just kicking it that weekend that were
Mhm.
just got family there.
Mhm.
And so it starts getting personal. But you think Hamas didn't know that? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That now we got American hostages. We're gonna get America involved.
Yeah.
And with that being said, that also throws complications with the surrounding countries over there,
Yes.
like Egypt and Sudan and Jordan, and of course Iran and Iraq, but definitely Iran. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying this could be a powder keg that we're looking up a year from now and we in full-fledged war.
Yeah.
Right.
The last element I want to kind of discuss real quick is like the debt. So Peter just commented, he said that the UK as a nation has just paid off their debt from World War II.
World War II.
So think about the debt that the United States is in. We keep talking about how we keep raising the debt limit. We keep raising the debt, and we're in debt. We are spreading ourselves thin. I talked about being strategic about where we go and when we go. We also need to be taking into consideration how much we're spending, because like you said, we just up and just sent a whole cruise ship and Iron Dome and all kind of stuff out there to Israel because of what happened. Okay, we want to help Israel, they are our friends, but we spend a lot of money. That's just like you and your home, right? Something happens. Spurs win the chip. If you ain't got the money for a new jersey, you just gonna wear the jersey you got. Okay, you might not be able to just run up and spend money all the time when you're looking at your account if your account ain't where it need to be. You know what I'm saying? And our account ain't where it need to be.
Well, America's running out of speedy cash. That's what they doing.
It's called speedy cash.
They getting that signature loan, dog. And they keep going back and getting it. You know what I'm saying? Like speedy cash ain't turned them down yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, sooner or later, speedy cash be like, look, man, your bank account ain't even open no more,
gonna be like,
bro. Man, you can't. But not America, dog. They just going out.
We ain't never gonna pay our debt.
They got all kinds of jerseys. You know what I'm saying? So,
hey, Peter, at least y'all paid your debt. It might be 80 years later, but
hey, we're not.
We ain't paying no debt. America
We're
ain't
not
doing
even giving
that,
a dollar.
And that's what killed me about the political system. The Democrats get up and talk about how spending is out. There's only one president that made a dent in the dang that I know of recently that made a dent in the dang debt, and that was Clinton. He was doing some positive things, but everybody else just going there and they throw their little money on it or whatever. So I mean, and that's not and the funny thing is, and that's why when you start talking politics, you got to get out of the rhetoric. They'll get up and say, hey, well, they spent so much and y'all spent so much. What you talking about?
Everybody.
Everybody's
guilty.
That don't fall on the Republicans or the Democrats.
They're all
guilty. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, one dude kind of started doing it, and then the next dude came in and I forget that, So it's the debt's crazy, real crazy. So
So speaking of Democratic presidents, There's been a lot of conversation lately on whether President Joe Biden should run for re-election in 2024. Now, they called out things like his age, his approval rating, and people are saying that he should step aside and let someone else get the Democratic nomination. So, Ace, should Biden run?
Yes. You already know my answer to
Simple.
this. Now, I mean, I'm gonna give you some certain scenarios. We're gonna play with this a little bit. From a political standpoint, and this is just me talking American politics, doesn't make sense for an incumbent president not to run. It's just the advantage point.
Yeah.
It's just that's like a football team just saying, no, we ain't gonna play at home. We'll play at your place. You know what I'm saying? We got home court advantage. So he should run because of that. He doesn't have to go through a primary. So there's nobody else on his team that's going to tear him down. And it should give solidarity to what's going on when it comes to running for political office, meaning the Democrats should be behind him. And that's what pisses me off a little bit because the age stuff is coming from the Democrats. Okay. So we know that. Now, let's say the age thing. All right. So how old is he right now? 81, 82?
Right. I think I'll be 80. What was it?
I
have to look at it.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's see. Keep going.
We talk age, right? Let's stop acting like Trump's 56.
Right.
Trump, if Joe Biden was toddling,
he's 80.
He's 80.
Yes.
If Joe Biden was toddling, then Donald Trump was crawling. You know what I'm saying? Like he's right behind him. You know what I'm saying? Like they the same.
Yeah, 1 to 2 years does not make a difference, people. I'm sorry. In my opinion.
Yeah. And like I said before on this show, don't let the toupee and the tan fool you. Dude's old, and you gotta understand he's an actor, he's an entertainer. He knows how to make himself look good on camera. Now, Joe Biden, well, I'm just saying he knows how to look better on camera than Joe Biden does.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But let's be real, Joe Biden tripping over sandbags.
Right.
That walk to the helicopter is a son of a bitch. Like when you see him walk to the helicopter, you be like, oh God.
Is he gonna get there?
Like Jesus, man. Somebody help him out, Yeah, I know he's 77. And
Biden, I think, is 80.
Yeah, 80. They're 3 years apart. That's what I'm saying.
So,
like that's not.
So that it's not like we trading them in for a younger model. Like it's the same dude just with a toupee and a damn suntan. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing. Now,
I don't agree with that statement. I don't want Trump to run, but I don't agree that they are from an age perspective. You're right.
They are
age, yes, but people who have a different age, who have similar age, can be very different from their mental capacity and the way that they speak, the way they come across to people. Right. Trump comes across as confident and control of he can articulate his words. He has all of his faculties. Biden comes across sometimes like, dude, are you going to get it out? Or can you speak? Can you walk? Like, I understand they're similar in age, but similar in age does not mean you're similar in your physical attributes. And their physical attributes and mental attributes seem to be very different. Now, everybody here knows I'm not a Trump fan. I'm just telling you from a perspective of looking what I see on their physical attributes and mentally what I perceive from their there's a huge difference.
Yeah, but I think that perception is what's getting people in trouble when it comes to electing a president. That's cool.
Yeah.
But it's just like even this Israel thing. I wouldn't want Trump up there right now.
No, hell no.
You know what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying, that he don't pass the eye test. You know what I'm saying?
I don't either.
But the knowledge and wisdom and kind of with me, I would be like,
definitely that's a Biden strength. Experience, knowledge, wisdom, all of that.
And I think we need more of that. Now, like you said, it's not like we're sitting up here and we're just trying to really figure out if Biden should run, and if he shouldn't run, who should. We'll get back to that question. I'll be honest with you, politically, because that is an issue and it's an eye test thing, and a lot of people are not gonna like to hear this. I think it would be easy for him to change the vice president. And nobody's gonna like that, but I think that would be a better thing. And I think that's part of the problem. I think that if they had somebody at a vice president that they're really confident, hey, if something happens with Joe Biden, this guy got it, this woman got it.
Right.
I think that would be a strength.
So you said guy or woman?
Guy or woman.
Do you think they'd be okay if it was another woman?
I think it
I
was.
think it's fine.
I think it'd be the
You think
right
so?
woman. Yeah, I think I got a candidate
I
that I
think-
think would fit in there.
Who would you say for the vice president?
I'll be
Female.
honest with you. Couple of people I would go with. I'm gonna go with two of them if I
Okay.
would go with him. And I think
Vice
I
president
think
to
a
run
woman.
with him.
I think a woman would be the strong choice for him.
Okay.
If he wants to shock the world, I go get Liz Cheney. I'll be honest with
Oh,
you.
I like.
And I'd put her in there.
I like the
She's
other
a
one, too.
Republican. She's really
Yeah.
a true Republican.
She is.
Even though her daddy's the devil, Dick
Right,
Cheney.
right. But Liz
know.
was different though. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't.
she's not different.
Right.
She don't.
She falls
fruit
on the
don't
same
fall from
lines
the
as
tree.
Dick. Yeah.
But she's a true
She's
conservative.
But she's true.
Right.
But here's the situation why I would do that politically for him. One, age-wise,
Mhm.
I think she has confidence on both sides of the aisle. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I think that a lot of true conservative Republicans would fall behind that, and that would
Right.
probably get rid of Trumpism. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I think that would strengthen his ticket if he was to do that. And it'd be a change that nobody's done
That's what I
other
said, has
than on the
nobody's
West
done-
Wing.
right,
They did
has
it on the
ever-
West
The
Wing.
last
Right.
time
That's never happened though,
It
right?
has
Like you have
happened.
a
It has happened, but
Democratic
it was
president and
it
a
has
Republican.
happened because
Who?
back in the day, I can't remember exactly who, but the way that the presidency used to work is they would run against each other, and the loser would be the vice president.
See, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, we
that's
can't do
that's
that
how
then.
it used to be
Oh,
back in the
yeah.
day. So
No,
there
no,
has
no.
been
Okay.
Republican, and there was a reason for
Yeah.
that, and it still
Right.
could be, to your point, a good reason for that, because it now you have
We're
that bipartisanism at the top,
Yeah.
right, where they're working together. So
And we don't
Yeah.
have, and that's the problem right now. No one is working together.
That's
You
right.
have two factions, like split. They don't work together. I don't care what they say. Oh, we're gonna work.
And then the
They don't.
Republicans don't work together.
Yeah,
So
and
they
the
don't even work
Republicans
together
don't.
with
Right. They
themselves.
won't work with themselves, and they won't work with anybody else who's not them.
So I think that would do that, and that would do a couple of things that would strengthen Biden's ticket.
I'm interested.
That
I'm
wouldn't have
intrigued.
that wouldn't have us worried about ageism, and I think that would really totally, I think, would unify the Republican Party and make them kind of get out of
Right.
the Trumpism.
How you like
kind of
Nikki
thing.
Haley?
Nah,
You don't like her?
she did. She raised her hand when she said she support Trump if he was president. I mean, she did that in the debate. Like,
Right.
so to me, she
They turned you off.
she talks about a lot of good politics.
Right.
You know, if they were to stay within party, I think I would go with Senator Klobuchar, or how you say her
Klobuchar.
name, out of Minnesota.
Soda.
If they were to stay within
Good- right.
party as a woman,
so that's your
Uh-huh.
second
that'd be my second.
vice president.
Ah.
Nothing against Kamala
Democrat.
Harris. Nothing against
Right.
that.
So
some-
why not Kamala, and why I'm intrigued by the
I
fact that, to Tina's point, she was like, they ain't gonna take another woman, because I don't think that I think that that's one of their things. They don't want to have a woman up near the top in power. That's sad, but I think that's true.
I mean,
But
Hillary Clinton. put it
Why
back.
would they take another woman over Kamala? Is it color? Is it like,
I think
what
it's
is
the
it about
abortion
her that they
ticket.
don't like?
I think it's abortion, but and I think that Kamala stands on it. But I think that the abortion deal is so strong when it comes to the elections. Or a woman's a strong candidate to have as vice president now, and that's sexist as hell to say, but that's real. But
That's true.
uh,
But why don't they like Kamala? That's my point. Like, why would they take out one woman and put in another one?
I don't. I don't say she's done a bad job. I don't think she has. I just don't think she has the power. It's like a big pull. It doesn't bring anything extra to the ticket other than what's already going on. Not knocking anything against her, but we're talking about is
what did you do?
well, no, we're talking about his
Vice presidents. I
Don't
don't.
never do
well,
anything.
exactly. So I mean, I can't go in and say, well,
Right.
she did this and she did. I mean, she's not doing a bad job.
Job, right.
Right.
Not
But
doing
we're
them.
talking about
I'm just wondering why they don't like her, not you.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
why don't they?
We
like
got
her?
a lot of reasons why they don't like Kamala
Yeah,
Harris. We can
I'm
start
like,
with
that's
just
why-
because she's black and Asian. We can start right there.
Okay. Well, there you
But-
go. Because the two people you brought up to replace her ain't.
Exactly.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. But and are you going to win people from across the aisle with Kamala Harris? We're
Right.
talking about just a political strategy now. I'm not knocking anything about Kamala, but it's nothing that she's offering right now that strengthens the ticket, is what I'm
Mhm.
saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not knocking her.
Right.
If they go with her, they go with her. I don't think she's done a bad job. I
Right.
think she's done the best she can with what she's been given. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They gave her immigration out of everything.
Right. I don't
That's
think
like almost
she's-
like a punishment, like
Mhm.
politically, like you're going to take immigration.
and that's hard.
Kind of to do immigration so it won't reflect on Biden, but it still
Mhm.
falls on him anyway. That's kind of how they do the
Yeah,
vice
you
president.
take care of that part.
You take something
Uh-huh.
that you're going to be in charge of, so when they start blaming us, they're going to blame you. You
Mhm.
deflect that from it.
Right.
That's kind of rough what they did to her.
Yeah,
there.
'Cause
But
I don't think it's because she's black though, because people love. Do you hear me? Love Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama was the wife of the president. She didn't have. you're
No,
not in the
I'm
cabinet,
not
you know.
saying. I'm
So I
not
don't
saying
know
that
if
they.
there's a.
I don't think it's like
So some
a.
people think that but I don't think that's why they don't like her. I don't think it
I
has
don't think
anything that
it's
she's
some
black.
people. I don't think it's politically effective to the point where they're saying, "Well, she's black and I'm not gonna vote for her." I don't think that.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now, and I'm not saying it because she's black, we need to change to a white person. I'm not saying that at all. I'm
Right.
talking about
Other people.
I'm talking about
I'm talking
political,
about other people, like
political
right. I don't think
effectiveness. Who's going
Right.
to bring something that's going to shock the ticket, get people excited? And I don't think Kamala Harris actually
she
does
brings
that.
it.
If his issue is that,
Right.
how do you keep the advantage? Well, he's still going to be able to run as an incumbent, but now you've changed the vice president
Mhm.
that brings some life to your
ticket. Somebody
and you don't have
different.
to change anything that you do.
So
Pretty much.
let me
It's
ask you
interesting.
this:
I like it.
Klobuchar, maybe. I mean,
She not
I
my
ain't
favorite.
too big on her, but she's a Democrat. So my question is, from a perspective of saying a strategic perspective, like bringing in a Liz Cheney from the other
I
side
like that.
of the fence, that could be seen as a pro and it could be seen as a con, because
Yeah.
you could turn, there could be some strong liberals, Democrats who are like,
Yeah, it's going to
we
be a
ain't gonna
lot.
have
Yeah.
this Liz Cheney,
Yeah.
she's conservative, like you said, that's
Yeah.
Dick Cheney's
Yeah.
daughter.
Definitely.
There ain't no way we
Definitely.
can have her running on our side, on our ticket. So there would be shock and awe.
Yeah.
It would cause a lot of talk. Would it be effective from a voter's perspective? Like, are Republicans really going to get in there? This is my thing, man. Even Democrats, I'm not even going to put this on one side of the fence. Is that really going to make a Republican say, I'm going to vote Democrat this time?
I think some. I don't think all of them. I think it's like this. The issue with politics right now are the inmates are running the asylum. It's either the far left or the far right, and we're appeasing what they want. You know what I'm saying? Because some far left agendas and things that are being talked about that I don't
you
really
may not
care
agree
about
with.
for.
Right.
There's a lot of far right stuff that I don't. So the moderates, which usually kind of
Centrist.
ran the country, the centrists, which are the moderate Republicans, the moderate Democrats, they kind of negotiated and said, okay, I don't like this, but to get this done, I'm going to sacrifice that, and vice versa. We got these hardline extremists on both ends that don't want to budge, and they want their policies going on, and that's what's stagnating the government, right?
Yeah.
So how do we centralize that? Well, I think that we might be able to centralize that if we kind of come say, well, since they don't get along, let's put both of them in the dang office and try to figure it out. That might help out. It might not. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's part of it. But I mean, you know, we're talking about if Biden should run or he shouldn't, and maybe what should he do? That's just one way to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't think they will. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that would be one way to do it.
It's
like
definitely innovative.
Right.
Steve had a comment on YouTube, and he said that he thinks Kamala just basically getting a bum rap because she's a lady. She's doing the same thing that every vice president does. Like, to your point, I mean, and to our point, it's like the vice president, you don't ever hardly hear nothing about what they doing or what impact they're having, and they give it whatever job. Right. What did Pence do? Nothing.
Well, that's why he ain't even.
At the end of the day, his point is he thinks it's mainly because she's a lady. I agree with that. I mean, I know that everyone doesn't, but I think that's what happened to Hillary.
Oh, that's
she should have won by a landslide. Experience. She had everything to the nines. I just think that even, and it's sad to say that even some women don't think that a woman should lead.
Yep.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
Facts.
And I think she fell victim to a lot of things. It's just that you know, I always said this when they elected Trump. I said, man, you wouldn't go to the grocery store, not even grocery store, the convenience store. And a dude let a dude manage that has no experience and never run in a convenience store.
Exactly.
Like, he takes that job. And
he's a businessman. Adrian,
that's what we did.
That's what we did with the presidency. A dude that had no experience. This dude ain't won city council. We got this dude being the president. It's politics. It's politics for a reason, you know. And like anything else, you got to have experience in it. And we're suffering for that experience that we hadn't had, and we're still suffering because I don't know why somebody says. And, you know, it's funny. It's almost like downplaying the position. Like people, because I have conversations with people right now. We just need something different.
Yeah.
What
does that mean? Well,
let's let a seal. Okay. Let's let a elephant seal run this.
Yeah, we just need something different. What are you
what
talking
does that mean?
About?
Right.
You dude that never been in Congress, don't know nobody, they ain't never talked to a world leader, ain't done none of this. You just want this guy to run the country.
That chases booty around. That's what he do. He knows for chasing butt.
Yeah.
Okay, like young women. Like
grabbing them.
Yeah.
grabbing him by the, you know
That's-
what's it?
Let's rule the world.
And we put him up against somebody who's done
Yes.
all of these things, or, you know, and then come out and wonder why the country's where it's at. And it's in chaos. It's crazy.
Literally.
Tina just dropped some knowledge. Told us that the last time I was talking about, like, back in the day, they used to like run for president, and the Democrat, whoever lost became the vice president. She said the last time that happened was 1796.
Oh, well, we're centuries away. Look at that.
1796.
I mean, but it's something
George
to think
Washington's
about.
still alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're just so separate. You know, they don't work together. Well, I want to talk about mine. I'm ready.
Who's yours?
Hakeem Jeffries.
Oh,
he already knew.
Snap.
I think because
I
follow Hakeem. Just to let you know, he served as a U.S. representative, right, since 2013. He's the House Minority Leader, right? He's 53, so we're looking at, like, when we talk about age, you know what I'm saying? Some people don't want him too young. Obviously, he's not too old, so he's right around. He's very bipartisan. He talks about it a lot. Pro-choice. So that's the thing that gets with people is the pro-choice. I went and actually looked at and saw what he's voted upon, and you know, as far as do we align ourselves? So he is pro-choice on that. He supports Medicare, Social Security. He supports regulation, indirect campaign. That was a good one. Indirect campaign contributions. So he does believe in regulation. So he's looking at making changes, which we all need that, you know. I thought that he's really big on crime, does not support the protection of governmental offices or officers who commit crime. So he's, you know, he'll speak against that. What else? Supports spending on means of economic growth, but he does believe that we need to control and be fiscally conservative. That was interesting. He supports forgiveness of federal student loans. I don't care what y'all people say. Support the loan debt. Well, he supports that. Government funding for renewable energy. Regulation of greenhouse emissions. So he's really into climate change. He supports gun control. Expanding family medical leave opportunities. So a lot of people don't understand, like teachers, they don't get like extra pay or anything. They got to take their leave and stuff like that. So he's really fighting for that. Into education, prescription drugs, national security. Just to let you know, he has a law degree. He also has a political science degree and something else on that. He supports the military in the Ukraine. He's really into foreign affairs. So just looking at him, he's pretty traditional. He's been married, right? He's married for quite a while. He has 2 kids. His religion is Christian, highly educated. And I'm like, and he can articulate what he wants to say. You know, I said, if you guys start following some of these people that are in the Senate and in the House of Representatives, you'll learn a lot of information. But, you know, I've been a kind of fan. He does remind me of a Barack Obama. He's not Barack Obama, but he does remind me kind of a mini him kind of thing. So he would be my pick if I couldn't. But I'm voting for, I would still, I'm riding with Biden, you know, because he hasn't done anything detrimental, I guess, to us. But again, a lot of people who are president doesn't typically affect me fiscally one way or the other.
Yeah, Jeffries has a lot going for him from a political standpoint, from I mean, democratic ideals, all the things that you brought up that we, for the most part in this room, probably support. The thing that I have an issue with, not with Hakeem, but with like all of the things that he supports, is I support him too. Don't get it twisted, but we got to get control of like the Congress to make some of these things happen, right? and that is what I'm kind of like. Okay, who, to your point, the strategic point that Adrian was making with like Democrat, Republican, get some Republicans to come over and get us to. I think your point is like maybe we can do some shit. Finally.
Well, he's bipartisan too. They do talk to him. I mean, I don't know
they
if
talk with him. Definitely talk with him because he's the minority whip, right? So he gonna get that talk all day long. They're gonna talk to him because he has influence. Like right now, they're trying to talk to him because they can't get a damn House Speaker voted in. So they trying to, can you help us?
Please.
Here's what we'll do. You know what I mean?
Please don't vote for Jim Jordan.
Yeah, he got a whole lot of like. I love Hakeem Jeffries. I think that if nothing else, he should run in 2028, right? If he don't run in 2024, he should try in 2028. Yeah. I mean, that's what, 6 years or 7 years away. No, I'm sorry, 5 years away. So he would be 58. So, I mean, if nothing else, he should run in 2028, right? That's what I say because he's my main pick too. He would be the guy who I would roll with. But there's also just to kind of give you a list of some of the people who I thought of. Hakeem Jeffries was number one. This is my draft pick. This is my
Your
draft
draft
right
pick.
here. I got if he's not available, then I'm going with Kamala Harris. If she's not available, because once again, think about the same point that you made about incumbency. That goes with vice presidents
That's
too.
true.
Vice presidents can get in because they were vice president. Bushes,
Tell that to Pence.
everybody,
Though.
like,
He is not doing well.
he ain't gonna get in because
Why?
of because
Like-
because
Trump
of what
made-
he did
Oh.
and what he did not do.
Well, no,
What did he do?
and what Trump
He did not
is,
support Trump at that time, and all his Trump
Yeah.
supporters. He got millions of people.
yeah, they
that are
destroyed him.
They
Trump
will never
destroyed him
vote
for
for
even
him.
running for president.
Them people will never run.
He did
for him.
that. He did that on purpose.
Yeah, that
he
ain't
destroyed
happening.
the fact that he could even run.
He
for
screwed him
president
over.
anymore.
He will never be able to get in there because of the large amount of the population that supports Trump. But my third pick would be Pete Buttigieg.
I like Pete.
I think he's a very
He's a good
strong
candidate.
candidate. What's that?
He's a good candidate.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he's a very
he's
strong
good
candidate,
too.
man. Cory Booker. Everybody knows why I do and don't like Cory. I
Booker's
don't
too
like Cory
angry.
because yes,
He does. He gets
he
too
comes
mad.
across as an angry
Every black
Negro.
man.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
He
the
just
one
has that
thing about
whole-
him.
He come.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. He started talking, and
It's
sometimes he
like,
just
I'm like,
You
his
know,
eyes blow up. and he
Uh,
just-
You know how he talk? He talk like the light skinned dude that don't like to be teased
Yeah,
about being light skinned.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly who he is.
He's light skinned guy. That's always
Right.
mad. You know what
Yeah,
saying?
I'm like, dude, you was at
Bro,
a 10.
but I still got him as number 4, coming
Okay.
off
Yeah.
the bench at my 4th pick. Gavin Newsom from California. I've seen him a
I've
lot
seen him
talking
too.
on
Yeah.
CNN,
Yeah.
and I've
Well,
seen some of the things that they've done in
Yeah.
California. He's done good stuff out there. I definitely think that some of those things you can transition to, the nation if he wants to. I'm always gonna roll with my next pick, Bernie Sanders. That's my
I
man.
like
My man,
Bernie.
50 grand.
He'll never know.
Very liberal, but he ain't gonna make it because of that.
String.
He old too.
And then
He's old too.
it
Yeah.
don't matter that he's old. Once again, y'all
His
confusing
faculties are there though.
age
You're right.
with
Okay, well. Yeah.
physical attributes
It's-
and
I'm just
mental
saying,
attributes. He ain't tripping over sandbags.
No.
We
He's
ain't
not
seen him
scooting-
trip over
he's
no
not scooting-
sandbag.
But he ain't
ain't
scooting to the
scooting.
helicopter.
No,
Yeah.
but he walk like this though. He be leaning.
He been
over-
walking like
he got
that since 77.
Yeah, he got that back problem. He got that scoliosis and
He
shit.
been
That
walking
nigga-
like he been walking with that scoliosis since 77.
Yeah.
He's good.
And then my last pick, AOC.
Oh,
And that's just because AOC is that girl.
I like
That's
Ilse
left,
too,
left.
But he's
she
Yeah.
got
left.
that wearing just dresses to make statements and stuff like
Ah!
AOC's gonna be the change though. Watch.
this. I don't
Them
know.
young, I'm telling you, they not yet, but
Not moderate enough.
yeah. And again, I think we do as a society, we have to be central, centrist. We can't be extremes because extremes just don't work for
He left
anybody.
Greg Abbott off that list.
Stop playing.
Also left off Jasmine Crockett. That's who Steve was online, and he said Jasmine Crockett will be a great VP.
Yeah.
So
Mhm. I just think women, dear women, I don't know why we hate each other. I
Yeah.
really do. And we see it every, and don't get me wrong, not all women are like that. 'Cause I know I'm not. I am very supportive of everybody. I try to be, but for some reason, people just with women. And I mean, we're in 2023, and I don't know when that's gonna change. Like that is something that's gonna kind of have to come within us as women, because it makes it very difficult. We have a lot of people who definitely are probably ready
Yeah.
to take charge. And I'm interested to see the different in a woman leading. I don't know. Do y'all think there's a difference in like the business world when you have a woman leader versus a man?
Nah.
nah,
Do you have
I
a
don't.
preference? I mean, I'm sure you've had good leaders, whether they're male or female. I know I've had both.
I've had good
you know?
leaders that are male and female. And
Yeah.
I don't
So I
really
don't
see a difference at
understand.
all.
No.
Right.
I mean, if anything, sometimes women are more strict on certain
Mhm.
things, and I think it's because of perceptions that might exist about like that women are soft.
Mhm.
But it hasn't been in a negative way. It hasn't been something derogatory where I was like, "Damn, you too strict." It was just that, hey, she don't play,
Right.
so do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah. No, and that list was a great list. And here's kind of my issue when it comes to the incumbency in Biden and the Democrats, on why would they point out his age? That's what kills me with them,
Yeah.
because end of the day, all those great candidates you got, if he was to get out, they would have to go up against each other, and they'd have to tear each
Mhm.
other up, tear them down politically. Great
Right.
things you said about Hakeem Jeffries, but they're gonna find out every bad thing about him, and they're
That's
gonna
their
bring it to
job.
the light. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Same thing with Buttigieg. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And once they do that, and you now have to face him off, with the Republican person, they're gonna do the same thing.
Mhm.
The good thing about Buttigieg is he already been through that fire.
Yeah.
He already went and tried to be the Democratic nominee. So they're gonna have to come up with something new.
And they will. But then why do that when you got
To
the
them is what you're
incumbency
saying. You're right.
and you only got to go
Support.
through half of that?
I think with
that's the biggest point.
But Democrats always are very. I mean, you say this all the time. It's like if they do something wrong, their moral compass, I think, is high to the point where like I can't ride with that. I cannot
Mhm.
not say something. I think that's the problem. Sometimes they just will not say something. Just be quiet. But I think just their moral compass is so high, and they know that there's some flaws with Biden. But as we see, I mean, the world ain't burning up. Inflation actually is getting better. And just know, even if Trump was president right now, we'd still have an inflation problem.
Yeah.
People don't understand what we've been through. I'm like, do y'all remember we just were like locked up like a couple of years ago, and we all gave stimmies. He gave stimmies. Barack Obama gave stimmies. I mean, I feel like people forget. Like we're very, I don't know, like our attention span is only like yay big, and we
Yeah.
forget what happens in
We
that
live in a
person,
moment.
right, who's in that position, and then they just blame them. I'm like, there's things that happened in the past which are now impacting where we're at now. So we just have to accept that and just, it's been regardless of who was president, we still be going through this. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
So
And the Democrats need to stop. They need to, they're fighting with a bully, or they're fighting with the kid that comes to the playground and fight
right,
and is gonna throw sand in
Fight
your
dirty.
face.
Yeah.
And they still trying to fight fair.
Mhm.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, and the thing
do
is
that.
like,
yeah.
I'm tired of that.
and the
You
thing,
said-
and that's the one thing that drives me crazy about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, don't tear down Biden. Why are you tearing down? They gonna already tear
Tear
him
'em
down. Why
You
y'all
just
tearing them
right,
down?
right. Don't help
Why
them out.
when they vote with the Democrats, they poll bad against Biden? Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
No matter, and that's what kills you. That's one thing you get in my eye about
Frustrating.
the Republicans. No matter what's going on, they still sticking to Trump. Like,
Oh, they
this
right.
dude can go slap Queen Elizabeth in the face or whatever the case may be. Well, God rest her soul, because she's dead. But he could do anything, and they still gonna stick to him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I've had Republicans tell me that. They said, "No, we stick with. I don't care what they did." I'm like, "What do you mean you don't care?" Like, but to me, you got to have some type of moral line. You don't have no line. You just gonna ride or die. Like, really, that means really ride or die. Like, regardless. And I think some of us just have that line that we just.
I think he can go out to lunch with Satanists, and they still would be like,
yeah,
he's
we
good.
ride.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're gonna ride with him, and
that's crazy.
And even though that's horrible because it's like a blind faith thing, but
it's dangerous.
As a political party, they still kind of stick to him. At least they support their guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's dangerous though.
It's very dangerous.
It's very dangerous. Just to
but the Democrats don't need to tear their guy down.
Right, I agree.
They already gonna tear him down, even if you agree with it. They're gonna tear him down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So and that's what eats me about the thing with the Democrats is why are y'all tearing them down?
Yeah.
This was coming from them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
so there's support that Republicans give to their person. Like you said, they're gonna ride or die, they're gonna do whatever with them, they're gonna support them. Democrats, they try to support their person, but to your point, if they do something wrong, they like, look, we don't support you no more, get out of here. Another person or organization besides political party that we are supporting is the Popo. We got to support the police, man. And right now they're struggling. Police across the country are struggling to recruit and retain police officers. So the shortage is having a real impact on society as a whole. We're seeing increases in crime rates across the country. It's crazy. Seeing the rob mobs and all kind of stuff out there.
Yeah.
And it's a complex issue that we got to deal with, and it's having a wide range of impacts. So, Walanda, can you give us your perspective on, the law enforcement shortage, especially how it's impacting schools?
Right. So I'll go through as far as I made a little list here as far as why. Before that, and I'll tell some personal as far as how is it actually impacting schools and just our normal daily lives. So first, obviously, we have a recruitment challenge. There's a struggle to attract and retain qualified. So a lot of them just kind of like teachers, they're getting up in age and they're retiring, and people are just not attracted, right, to the police force at this time. So you also got retirement and attrition, right? Officers retire, they leave after, can't replace them. So you have newer officers and less experience. Less experience can obviously with any type of situation, it's just not good, especially in law enforcement. You really want experienced officers. There's budget constraints, so lack of funding. They keep talking about back to blue. Well, officers don't get paid a lot of money depending on what type of officer they are. But right now they're starting at 20. I think it went from 28,000 to 74,000. And so,
28,000.
yeah, 20. Can you imagine 28,000? I don't.
Is that the
anyways,
range
Is
across the
that
That's the
country?
range across the country. 28, and just alone in Texas, it ain't very high. Increased demands. So you got wide ranges from now. So now we talk about public safety, right? So you guys already know about the schools, and now legally you have to have an officer at a campus. You have to have one all day long. That's a lot of officers. There's a lot of schools, right? And so that is restraint there. And then they now have to go in, you got somebody trying to blow up a school or shoot somebody, and they have to know I'm going to put my life on the line. So when I take this job, I'm prepared to die, because that does happen. That's real talk. Negative public perceptions. So a lot of them don't want to go and serve because they feel like, they were even trying to talk about changing their uniforms because they feel like it has this like negative connotation to it. When people see the uniform, they think negative thoughts. So now they're thinking about trying to wear like normal daily clothes. But I was like, well, how do you separate yourselves? But something a little bit more, I guess, appealing to them, because now they're saying the uniform itself has some type of negative perception, and just burnout and stress. They're stressed. I can't imagine going to my job every day knowing that, hey, I'm here to protect and serve, and I may not go home to my family. So those are pretty much the biggest challenges there. With the school system, again, shout out to all my officers, because it's been a really good thing, but it's very difficult for them. They're now having to serve in different, at least with my district, serve different campuses in a certain amount of time, which sometimes can create where they don't have that relationship they want to have, which they're trying to increase that by saying going to the different schools will increase it. But, it's been real impactful. It's been really sad. Definitely. You can see the stress in their face every day. And it's hard because there's nothing really I can do per se. When you get to vote, which I don't think there's anything about propositions for officers right now. So when people say that, like, certain parties are supporting them, I don't know about that. I don't know. It's sad.
So what I know that in your district they're doing like the
safety officers.
safety officer, and then they have like your officer don't stay at your school. Like he rotates, and what's going on with all of that?
So they rotate every 30 days right now on there, and I don't want to, just for safety purposes, tell too much information, but just know that you'll see different officers on our campuses. But now we have a safety officer where they're coming in. I don't have the background on that, but they get a lot of training and stuff, so they're able to be armed on your campus. And I want to say the age is 21 years old.
But they're not police.
But they're not police. It's a safety officer. And so they're here to like check our doors. They're supposed to be the ones to, again, same thing. Like if there's something will happen, they run to that situation kind of thing. But it's a little bit separate. They don't really interact with the kids and anything like that. Pretty much like outskirts, make sure that you're safe on campus, doors are locked and things of that nature, because there's such a shortage of police officers. So now we're looking at utilizing safety officers.
And what's that pay range for the safety officer?
Oh, it wasn't that high. It was like 20 something. Wasn't it $20 something an hour? Yeah, it was hourly range, but I think it was like 20 something. But they're talking about using like people who are retired officers or military, you know what I mean? So older gentlemen, that's kind of like I don't have to work, but I want to help out schools kind of thing. That's who I think they really are attracting, is our military, our retired military. And
so you brought up a point about pay, and 28,000 to 70 something thousand is the national average. There's a lot of jobs out there that make more money than that.
Yeah.
Right.
And to your point, you just said they're going to train these people how to run to the gunfire.
Yeah.
Not something that the police don't want to do. Okay. You're going to train this guy to run straight to the action.
Right.
For $28,000 or less,
a damn
$20 an hour, bro. Like the pay that
you're
getting is not commensurate to the risk involved in the job that you're doing, man. And to me, that's one of the reasons, like you brought it up already, but that's a big reason, man. Why would you want to get into a field that you're putting your life at risk every day? Every day you walk out the door, you might not come back, and you getting chump change. I wouldn't do that for anything. Even when I was in the military, I was a crypto linguist. I wasn't nowhere near the action. Okay. I'm not getting a paycheck to go out there and pull out a rifle and fight. But then the other part of that I didn't hear you say that I think is important is there's a lot of scrutiny with being a police officer now.
Yeah, negative perception.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
So
negative
like
perception.
all of the misconduct, all of the brutality, all the things that police are getting in trouble for, and just the way that they look at them and mistakes you can make. I truly believe that some of these officers out here, they have fear that something's going to happen to them, and they step over the line and do some things they shouldn't do. There are some who are also like just prejudiced and a-holes, and they're just going to act bad. They're bad actors who do things on purpose with malintent. But like the lady that pulled out her gun instead of her taser, I know it don't make no damn sense. A gun's black and a taser's yellow, okay? But I don't think she did that on purpose. I don't think she meant to shoot that guy. You know what I mean? I think there are things that are just happening because there's too much risk out there. Like there's a public does not trust a police officer, especially if you black. You ain't got no trust for no policeman. And I'm sorry to say it, in a lot of circles, policemen are looked at in a good way because they do a lot of good things. But in the black community, for the most part, we don't see the police as like a positive influence or a positive impact out there.
Yeah, I mean, in some neighborhoods, man, I mean, the police only come around when and when horrible things are happening. But even when they come, the way they address that is kind of, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. You know, I think that kind of frustrates people on the political agenda. You see all these people, committing crimes and they ain't going to jail, and black people like, what?
Right.
They can do that? Because usually they think I do a crime, I go to jail.
Yep.
Then I might get out if they figure out I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? But they're going to hold me for a long time. And that's not only black, that's socioeconomical, because it's, depends on, what kind of money you're making, but my neighborhood, nobody want to be a policeman. That wasn't, nobody wrote that down. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want that job. And I'm not knocking what policemen do as a job. I mean, it's funny because my father was in law enforcement. He retired from that. So, so I guess I come from a law enforcement family, but I wasn't trying to do what he does. He ran the prison systems and stuff like that, but that wasn't something I looked at I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And to this day, I'm not encouraging my sons to go join the police force. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's a tough job, and I respect what they do. I really do.
Definitely
understand. But I've had situations and incidents where I don't respect what they do. You know what I'm saying? And it's the way I've been personally handled. So that falls into the history of the police. They were the guys that, back in the slavery days ran down slaves, and they decided, hey, let's get together, and now you guys are police. You know what I'm saying? And that's just being real short with it, but that's where it comes from. So on the black standpoint, they've just been oppressive to us, or the oppression tool used to us up to this day, still being used like that. And that comes to that negative connotation why people don't want to do that. And there's a lot of black police officers out there that do great jobs and got over there, but from that community, that's part of it. Well, I mean, even if you go in any community, it's just, let's look at it on the flip side. You're a white police officer and you want to be it. Now you're afraid if you get out of line, you can get sued, or you could even go to prison.
Right.
Because if a situation that you do, it gets publicized and thrown out of hand, you facing some time. So I don't want to put myself into that risk.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
that's huge.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that, look at social media. If you go to TikTok right now, YouTube, whatever, Facebook, IG, you can start scrolling through reels or whatever. Tell me you ain't gonna see like a policeman doing something bad in a reel.
Yeah.
Or like social media, your phone. Like once we got our own cameras,
it was a wrap.
It's a wrap. People don't want to be police because now, first of all, police got too much leeway. I'm pretty sure they have processes, procedures, and rules that they're supposed to follow. But when they're out there in them streets, they ain't following all them rules all the time. They have a lot of leeway to do whatever they need to do based on the situation. And I understand that. Every situation is not the same, and you got to be able to flex and do what you need to do. But now I can pull out my phone and be like, and next thing you know, I'm sending this, I'm putting it on social media, I'm sending it to your boss, I'm doing all this, and now you done lost your job. Or to your point, you could go to jail.
Yeah.
And that to me is a huge piece of why police, the law enforcement shortage is out there. People don't want to be that guy on
Yeah.
on the reels. That's
Yeah.
doing some
Right.
fucked up shit to somebody and losing their job and going to prison and losing a family.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's too
Yeah.
much.
And I mean, and it's some, and let's not get it twisted. There's some real criminals out there.
Yeah.
Like, and I know sometimes the police are put in situations where they have to, act like the criminals, I guess. I don't know, or try to get to their level, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how that policy goes. I'm not in the police force.
Mm-mm.
But I do understand that, as much as we like the Superman attitude policeman out there that does everything right, I know sometimes getting down in the dirt with some of these criminals, you're gonna get there. I think your problem is you don't know who the criminals are,
True.
and especially in my neighborhood, like I got put hands and knees, color style in the my neighborhood, and I was in college. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't take time to ask me that or
Nope.
whatever. I was just another black face out there. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So it's something missing in the training and their history to
Mm.
where like that's not done right. So there's just negativity all over the place. Like I said, I've never had a police pull behind me and be like, hey, you know what I'm saying?
No.
This is a good thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm always going into like, oh, let me hope I come out of this alive. You know what I'm saying? And I
that's
don't have to go to
sad.
jail. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And
That's the
sad.
way I think of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Only time I'm like happy to see the police is some real something's going down, like guns is coming out or something. Okay, now we need the police. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because now, yeah, somebody's being real reckless. So
See, I ain't never been in no situation like that. I know you was at the IHOP a while back and when all
yeah.
that went down. But the only time I'm happy to see a policeman is if we like at an event and they just there, just standing there on guard or whatever.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if I see a police, it's because they came to something, because something happened. And like you said, I'm just a black face. So at that point, they just gonna look at me like I'm a criminal because they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just addressing the shortages, I went over some, and just like Adrian said, recruiting and training. Like I don't know what kind of training they have. Like what actual training? Like, and you know what? I'm probably gonna ask my officers, like, what type of training do you actually have before you become an officer? Like, how many hours of, I don't know, what type of school? Because we all know they only need a high school diploma.
An
So you don't-
annual refresher training.
Right. Like how many
too.
hours? Because teachers have to have so many hours. Like what does that look like? So they were saying they need to have comprehensive training. I would like to know, what does that look like? The other one was community policing. They're saying that you got to have better community relations. And I guess being out there is the only way they can do it. But then y'all saying y'all don't want them out here. So I don't know what they're supposed to do, because they need to be out there with the community. But I guess it's the type of interactions that people are having with them. See, I only
Yeah.
have good experiences. But again, I work at a school, so I have a different outlook. And
Ask your
you know what I
students
mean?
what they think about the officers.
I will. Well,
You know what I'm
actually,
saying?
one of my officers, they love
Because they're
him.
gonna tell you something totally different than
Right.
how you feel about it.
Right.
Well, I
and they
mean-
might see negative, because when I call one, they're like, oh, I'm in trouble. You know what I'm saying? If I call you over there, hey, there's a problem. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
wonder if that's how they have that negative. I don't know. You're right. Like, I don't know what the feedback would be. But younger ones is different. They love everybody. But the older ones in high school, they're probably like, what? You call him? I don't want none. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a different feel to it. So.
Well, I think school police guy or officer and street police officer is two different guys. If I'm school police
right.
guy,
Is that different?
clean
right.
uniform, I'm drinking
Right.
coffee,
Right.
chilling, you know what I'm saying?
Different
Like
experience.
walking around patting kids on their head, telling
Yeah.
people to stay in school. But the street police guy ain't that
It's
guy.
different.
Ask
You know what I'm saying?
ask the school officer if he feel like that's his job. Because to her point, what
Oh,
I
in
be
high
hearing,
school, it's different.
they be
Yeah.
hemming people up. And
I didn't say they hem them up,
Yeah,
but
they
they.
do.
Well, I mean,
But if
I'm
I
saying,
got a
but-
problem, they coming. They coming.
they gonna hem you up.
but school police guys, still even in the high school situation, ain't
Yeah.
like
Nah, he ain't like the
that dude rolling up
patrol guy.
to the
Yeah.
trap. You know what I'm
Nah.
saying? Like
Right,
that dude got
okay.
a whole
Yeah,
different
no
outlook
doubt,
to his
no
job.
doubt,
You
no
know what I'm saying?
Every day, he like, I can
Okay.
handle these little kids every day.
Yeah,
like,
like, you know,
the
now
patrolman's
and
like,
then,
I might die today.
So you're saying patrol? So okay, so that's true. So you have different type of police officers. So you
Yeah.
got
so the guy you meeting, of course you got different respect for that.
Yeah.
Dude's
Yeah.
happy
Like,
to
how
be
can
at
you
work.
not like
Yeah,
him?
you know,
clocking in and
like, I
get
can
off
beat
at
up these
5.
kids all day.
They don't get off at 5.
You get off
Yeah.
at 5.
They
I get off
not
at
get-
5:30.
They do not get off 5.
Hit the police bar up. You know what I'm saying? You know they got
Yeah,
their
you
own
know.
bar.
I'm smacking these little kids around.
They do not.
My man's
They
riding
work
around
hard.
3 a.m. at night, picking up hookers. His
Yeah,
job
you
is
know, he
completely
ain't doing
different.
that.
Yeah.
Well, they also said mental health support. And I was thinking that, I was like, okay, so if our officers need mental health support, I'm a little concerned because You can't be, you know what
So
I
are
mean?
those
If
things that will help, like,
they're supposed to be helping
to help to stop the shortage?
Yes, because they're
Okay.
saying that officers. I mean, you know what? I take it back because they have a lot of stress. So who are they talking to? So when they have stress, who are they dealing with? You know what I mean? Because every day, like your street police officers, I'm sure they see a lot of things too, right?
Mhm.
Oh
So
yeah.
they have
Trauma.
experiences. Are you taking care of your trauma though? Are you just every day wake up and just continue on your day? You probably need to be speaking to somebody. They probably need to provide some type of support. And it sounds like they're
And they
not.
probably don't. And like I said, like with the training that you talked about, they need like not only training, but they need to be having annual refresher training.
Right.
Same thing with that. If you're gonna have some type of I don't know, psychological evaluation or just a therapy session, that
Mhm.
should be quarterly or annual or
Right.
something. It shouldn't just be like, oh, we gave you a therapy session last year. Now I need
No.
one every 3 to 6
Right, every
months.
so many weeks.
Yeah.
Policy reform, and then we have like collaborative solutions. You know, like who are they, collaborating with as far as other organizations? You know, they need to be speaking to people. And again, there are different I guess your interactions with people could be dependent upon like cultural, and then knowing the history right behind that. So I don't know what type of trainings they have, but maybe they have some cultural awareness. I don't know.
Yeah.
When you're going in this particular type of community, how you should be talking to people, how you
Yeah.
interact with them,
I
and
think
doing that daily, not just coming up on a negative, not just when somebody's shooting. Like you should be out there every day. Like, hey,
Yeah.
it's Saturday. Let's go out there and I don't know, shoot some hoops with the kid. I don't know.
Like you talk about
You
like the
know?
1940s and 1950s police
Yes.
officer.
Well,
How you doing, Officer O'Houlihan? You know,
but
he's
that's
walking down the street with
important.
his little thing.
Yeah.
You know, hi Johnny. He knows everybody in the
I lo-
neighborhood.
I love Walanda's world, man. It's
Yeah,
all,
you know what I'm
It
saying?
is.
it's all cotton
Rainbows and
candy
Yeah, you know
and
what I'm saying?
unicorns and shit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I love it too. It keeps
Oh.
me happy. But
But
at the
it's
end
so
of the
Police
day,
come out juggling.
yeah,
Thank you.
they got a clown nose on doing
Okay.
magic tricks.
The Care Bears really exist.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Oh,
The
no, man.
Sunshine Bear. Yes.
But hey,
that's
but
what I am.
but
Okay,
at the end
but
of the
I
day,
really feel
to
like
me, like this is an important topic, man, because we got to get our law enforcement beefed up. There's
it's
no
bad
way.
now.
And to be truthful with you, like my main thought, I think the main issue, like I said, I think it's because of the fact that we have technology now that can see some of the things that the policemen are doing that we couldn't see before.
Yeah.
And it's shining a light on some of their activities. And now, is it as it's not as lucrative of a job? And it also, I'm sorry to say, but I think there's some people who just have power trips.
Mhm.
And they're like,
yeah.
I'm not going to go out there and do this job. I got a power trip, but I don't want this job because I might go to jail because I know how I am. I'm an actual fool out here with these people because I have this authority issue that I have. And so now they don't want to do the job because they don't want to get caught on camera. Like candid camera is out there every day now.
Yeah. And these policemen had turned their body cams off. You're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they got people to do that.
They
So,
do.
I mean, yeah, it's a hard job.
Hell
It's hard and it's tough.
I wouldn't want to do it.
I commend the guys that do it, just like I commend the guys that go to the military and serve the whole thing. I know it's hard, and I know it's somewhat of a calling. It's something that you're gonna want to do because you got to get out there and you got to put up with some terrible things that people do to each other. You know what I'm saying? But it's got to be a better way to do it. You know what I mean? A better way to do it, and that doesn't always fall down on the individual policeman. Some of them, like you said, on a power trip, they get into it for the wrong reasons, and they just get the thrill of being able to go out there and knock somebody in the head, and that's wrong. I say, but it's some people out there that are really trying to generally do the job, and they do it because they got love for people and they got love for the community. And I don't know what the system has to do, but they got to do a better job of training them. Definitely a better job of recruiting them, and they got to pay them more than the people can get paid working at a call center. Like, come on, man.
Okay.
28,000.
Right. I do argue because the requirements. So I looked at the requirements, and this is just holistic, not to Texas, but you need a high school diploma, right? 18 to 21 years old, depending on the department that you have to be. U.S. citizenship, clean criminal record, physical fitness, psychological evaluation. Not sure what that looks like.
They got me there.
Right. Background
fitness
check.
part.
The physical fitness, drug
I ain't
screening.
in shape.
And then they have some written type of oral examinations. But again, I think if they required them maybe to have some type of, I don't know if you need a college degree or something, but maybe higher education than a high school.
Nope.
You don't think so?
Why would you? Okay. I will tell you what
like
that maybe, but a high.
I'm
gonna put it to you like this, man. I'm gonna put it to you like this. I don't think that an individual, and maybe I'm wrong, who starts off and decides to go to college has a goal to become a police officer. They probably have a goal to become like a lawyer or a detective
Yeah.
or
But that's
something
not
like
you have
that.
to be a police
Like,
officer first.
yes, you do, but I'm just saying this is their goal.
Right.
They could go in, they could, because there are some people who go to college and they become police, but then they're like,
Yeah.
I want to become a detective. I ain't just trying to
Right.
be those people who you just said, like those criteria, they're not gonna, like, once you 18 to 21, I'm like, if you go to college, you're like, shit, why do I want to be getting this paid? Yeah, I didn't want that shit. I'm gonna get me another job. That's kind of like the point. Like, there's other jobs out there if you're looking for pay. Now, to Steve's point, Steve made a point online, and he said, let's see, he said, I think it goes down to what Adrian said. People choose a career for a reason. It's not a high-paying job, then choose it for the status. Like, so some people want to be a policeman because they really, really want to support their community. They want to be a policeman.
Yeah.
They want to catch criminals, right? Or they want to be criminal. I don't know. But but at the end of the day, I'm just playing. But at the end of the day, like, there's something in it. There are a lot of people, like, for the military. I joined the military because I flunked out of college. Some people join the military because they want to protect their country.
Yeah.
Right. People have different goals for doing the things that they do.
And I was thinking about also, I mean, if you look at somebody who becomes a fireman, you know what I'm saying? Somebody becomes a fireman. A lot of times that's because, I mean, they want to help people and be a fireman. You know what I'm saying? That's what they want to do, especially up on the East Coast. I mean, you got people that their families dedicate their lives to.
Yeah.
They're not only a fireman, but their dad was a fireman and their son was a fireman. And
legacy.
That's what they do. And they do that somewhat with the
military
police force
too.
also.
Some people do that for the military. It's a
Police
legacy.
Force, yeah.
But what's crazy too is when you said fireman, I will say this. They now sometimes say call a fireman before you call a police officer. They say call a fireman. You ain't hearing about firemen hurting you, which is true though. And they have actually, I mean, don't carry a gun, but they do a lot of the same things.
Somebody breaking into my house, I ain't calling no fireman.
I know, but I just say they call.
Bring your axe, bro.
They
going down.
It's going down, please.
They strong, I promise.
Now, Peter made a great point. He said, I think right now that to be a police officer in the UK, you have to have a degree.
See? And I wonder if they act different. I wonder if they have the same. Okay, I know that sometimes social media and just the media in general puts out all the negative. You know, you got police officers doing some really bad things. And again, there's a lot of police officers that I see doing great things. So I wonder in the UK if they have the same type of issues with like police brutality. You know, I would like to look at their statistics on that.
Especially if people in color that live in the UK.
Right. You know, I'd be very intrigued. I'm going to look that up and just see the difference. I don't know. I'm not saying a college degree puts you in a different mindset, but for some of these people, I don't know, they have certain classes that would, you know, gear themselves like cultural awareness or something. I don't know what they take. Psychological classes. I don't know.
I just think you got to have somebody who's just genuinely a good person. I don't think even college degree guys.
That's true. Because you don't got to be, you got to be a good person inside.
Right. Policeman, you know what I'm saying? And they got 3-4 degrees. I just
exactly.
You do have to be a good person. I do. And I think some people, they go the wrong route and they're not maybe where they should be.
I mean, sometimes education is good, but I think in this situation, I don't think it's an educational thing. I mean, you can train the hell out of people. Don't mean they won't absorb the training, you know.
True. Right.
You just got to, I think it's almost on a moral thing. Like you got to get people
psychological training or something.
Better moral
income,
you know.
But see, here's the thing, man. I think this goes back to a post that I made earlier. It's like you educate people who you want to be able to know, like, and be innovative and do things. You train people who you want to control.
Oh, true.
Like there's a big difference between education and giving someone a knowledge that they can do shit with.
Critical thing.
Training you, like, you do this, you do this, you do it. You put this, you turn this knob on this screw in this bolt. That's you've been trained. Get out there and do that. Turn this knob on this bolt. You can train these motherfuckers all day, but they need to be educated, right, on the right way to do things. And then they need to be able to be given some type of autonomy to do what's right. But you got to pick the right people, to both of your point. Like there's people out there who just have bad intentions.
Yeah.
There's people who have good intentions. How can you find the right people for the mix of the job?
Psychological tests, lots of testing.
Right. And then Steve made a great point. He said, you know, we're setting people up for, you know, to be failures, like because they're not properly training some of these officers to do things that they need to do. And it's not fair to them. You know, they're putting them out there in harm's way. They're not giving them the right training. They don't have the education that can I guess the training can actually be something that goes along with the education, like you said.
Right.
Like the UK, like Peter said, they got degrees. So I mean, that's something we should be doing.
And maybe that warrants
But
their
they also
money.
ain't got
once
no
again,
guns, right? In the UK, like
No,
they
Yeah,
walk around
because-
with billy clubs.
that's right. They don't.
Yeah.
Like there's a special
special
force that gets to
that
have
has
guns
guns.
over there, but regular
everybody
cops, you're
does.
right? They
Mm-mm.
ain't got no guns.
Yeah.
That's a whole
But
nother thing.
again, I bet you if you look at UK statistics, I mean, how much, as far as, I don't know, like, can you ask them, like, what's the crime rate there? Like,
Nobody
how
ain't got
does it
no
look like
guns over there, but
you
they
know
be
what I mean?
baseball batting the hell out of each other over there.
I want to know what the crime rates are. I guess I could look it up. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, does he feel safe? You know what I mean? I mean, do I feel safe around somebody necessarily with a gun versus not without a gun? As a whole, if that's their society, but that's where they live.
I think that you have to like measure that. Like a lot of our crime is because of guns. I mean, we all know the argument
Right.
of that. I mean,
Right.
but that's not the but they. I mean, it's kind of hard to. I mean, we'd have to look at it and see. That'd be another show.
Yeah.
UK.
I'm really
versus,
interested. Yeah, like there's stats on that.
Maybe
but
we
like,
could bring Peter in, have him
Yeah.
talk to it.
But I've seen some British shows where they, like I said, they macheting and doing. I mean,
They got a billy club. Like, is that what they do?
They got a
use
billy club, but then criminals got big knives and machete. I mean, they
Oh,
medieval over there. It ain't
medieval.
like it ain't like they still ain't killing each other. They just ain't, they can't shoot each other. Like we got the clean version of killing. They still stabbing each other with machetes and swords and shit over there.
I
got
can
the
run from
brutal
that,
killing.
though.
No, you can't.
Hitting people with hammers
You
and all
can
that.
run from a knife.
Not if they faster than
And
you.
not they
Not if I'm faster than them, no.
They got their situations. It depending on how many feet you with a gun. If somebody got a knife, you gonna lose that. If they can throw that knife at you, they know how to do it right.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
I forgot what I think it's 3 to 5 feet.
Peter said they even calling out the fire stations over there in the UK. He said that they've been called out for starting fires. They left the stove on and the firehouse burnt down.
I like the firemen.
That's a whole different problem.
Yeah, that's a whole other
Firemen
issue, man.
They're friendly.
But hey, I want to go ahead and thank everybody out there. I want to wrap this up. This week has been a great conversation here. Hopefully Biden still runs. Hopefully we get some more law enforcement out there, and I hope that all the countries who we're supporting are successful, and we get to have some type of harmony, some like you said, humanitarian need that's out there, all that good stuff, man. So first off, I want to thank my queen Walanda for all of her knowledge and information that she shared with us today, as well as my man Ace for his knowledge and information that he shared. Tina, the queen, keeping me in line with the comments and also my timing, making sure that I don't, mess up the show by doing something stupid. So I want to thank everybody out there, YouTube, Facebook, for all of your comments, joining us for the live stream. Everybody out there checking us out on our podcast. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
Well, real quick before you end it, man, let's just give a silent prayer to those in Israel and those on the Palestinian side. A lot of death going over there, a lot of destruction. You know what I'm saying? And it's certain aspects of certain people saying things. Watch what you say. Don't be reckless. And at the end of the day, be human about it. Look at the humanitarian aspect. Everybody's got their beliefs and their situations, but end of the day, it's people's kids dying over there. You know what I'm saying? So let's give a small prayer for the people over there, all the victims.
Thank you. See you next week.
Bye-bye.